This is an explanation for week 12. This week's topic is biography and informational text. And this week you will complete the author study in the author study wiki just as you have in the previous weeks. Conduct your last virtual discussion and your reader's response blog number 8, which is informational text Common Core Exemplar. If you haven't invited me to be part of your discussion, please send me an invite this week. I want you to discuss your experiences with biographies in a small group. You also read some articles to determine what makes a good nonfiction book. And you're going to choose an activity from a list of activities about biographies, nonfiction or both, and this will be your choice. So let's click on this folder. This is the link that takes you to the Author Study Wiki, where you will read or watch the video of the author study this week and then post all your responses in the comment section under the posting of that wiki. And then the people, your colleagues who created that wiki, will comment on your comments after you have made a comment in regards to your responses. So it's actually going to post your responses to the activities from that author study. This is a reminder to participate in your last virtual discussion. Send me a recording of that. And if I haven't been part of it, please invite me to be a part of your group. And then don't forget to finish up your reader's response blog. That assignment will be complete with this last posting, and I'll start grading those very shortly. This week is about biographies, so in a small group, you're going to share memories of biography reading from your childhood, and you're going to post those in the Week 12 group wiki, which is right here. Whose biographies did you read or hear? Often mentioned are famous people like Christopher Columbus, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Helen Keller, maybe President Obama. So why did you read those biographies? What do you remember about your feelings about the subject of biography? I want you to brainstorm a list of names. So you're going to, after you respond to these questions, you're going to list the names of famous individuals that you might like to know more about today. And then you're going to search for children's and adolescent biographies written from those individuals, and you're going to then post those as a list. And I would like you to put the title and an image, and if there's a little brief description, you could put a little brief description about it. So it will be a list that you all have collaborated on to create. All right, so that's what you're going to do in your small group. There are some other questions. Are famous women and minorities a part of your list? Are biographies of these people available for children? And then again, post your responses all in week 12 for this group work. Here is the wiki for week 12. And then, since we're talking about nonfiction, I want you to locate and read the following articles from the Hornbook magazine. What makes a good science book? What makes a good dinosaur book? Beyond Barney. And More Than the Facts, reviewing science books. Now, each of these articles brings up interesting points about evaluating nonfiction science books. I want you to reflect on how the points of these articles complement or contrast each other and the suggestions for evaluating nonfiction in Chapter 10. Post your reflection in the Week 12 Dropbox. Now, there is not a link to these articles because we're having difficulty linking articles. So I gave you a little explanation here. I did it last semester, so you'll notice that it does say fall, but it still pertains to this activity in particular and to linking of any articles on Blackboard. So you can watch that if you didn't do it last week in a way that is similar to what you need to do this week. The last activity is a choice activity, and you can select one of the following and post your work in the Week 12 Dropbox. The first one is just to highlight both chapters, listing 5 takeaways. I like to use that term, takeaway, from each chapter. Takeaways are important pieces of information you've learned from the chapters. If you've had me for social studies, that's exactly what I want, is just you to go through and pick out some important information, 5 points that you're going to post, and that can be one of the things. You need to do both chapters, not just one. If you decide to do number 2, you're going to use a biography. It can be the one you read or one that's on your self-selected list, and you're going to evaluate that biography using, that spelling is wrong, the criteria from figure 9.1, which is page 283, and you're going to compare that biography to another biography about the same individual as stated in teaching idea 9.1. So there are two parts to this. Not only are you evaluating, but you're looking for another book, and then you're going to explain, compare, or contrast that with the book that you initially evaluated. Number 3 says, using teaching idea 10.2, you're going to write a script using the thoughts from this teaching idea to share a nonfiction book to a class. This isn't a lesson plan, but it's a script, or it's at least teacher talk, and to let students notice how the book is designed. That idea talks all about how nonfiction books are designed, and that teachers need to talk a little bit about that so students understand the important parts, the important pieces to a nonfiction book. The last idea, activity that you can pick from is to using teaching idea 10.3, create a glossary. Now it says there's an ABC book. You do not need to create an ABC book on a nonfiction topic of your interest, just like what the idea talks about. Make sure you've incorporated most of the alphabet. I don't expect that you'd have every letter of the alphabet represented in your glossary, but have most of them. And if you have a visual, that's great too. You post one of these activities in the week 12 Dropbox. If you decide to do more than one, boy, I will give you extra credit. And here is the Dropbox link so that you can add your individual work. Your group work goes in the group wiki this week. Your individual work is posted in the week 12 Dropbox. As always, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Otherwise, you know it. I'll see you online.